Welcome, folks. Today we're diving deep into the mysterious last words of Mark's Gospel. It's, fascinating how the narrative just stops, abruptly, with the women fleeing in fear, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like this jarring cliffhanger that uh leaves you wondering. Did Mark intend to leave us in suspense, or was something lost along the way?
Right, and get this. The earliest manuscripts, like the Codex Sinaiticus and Vaticanus, end exactly at 16.8. No resurrection glorification, no triumphant appearances, just silence and raw terror.
Yep, that's wild. It really forces you to question what the real message is. I mean, imagine expecting a victorious miracle and instead finding only doubt and sweat running you through the pages.
Yeah, exactly. And then, centuries later, scribes felt, perhaps not satisfied with that ambiguous ending, and they went ahead and added not one but two new endings. There's a short ending and a longer, more dramatic rendition, right?
Right. The longer one especially ups the ante with Mary Magdalene, appearances on the road, even snake handling references that eventually influenced Appalachian traditions.
Yeah, it's like, um, they wanted to overwrite that unsettling conclusion with a more comforting narrative. But here's the kicker. The longer ending isn't found in those earliest manuscripts. It, just seems like a later addition, a sort of patch to the narrative.
Exactly. Scholars like Bruce Metzger and Bart Ehrman have pointed out that the longer ending comes off as a mosaic of traditions borrowed from Matthew, Luke, and Acts. It almost feels like a literary fix, rather than something penned by Mark himself.
Right. And some argue that this wasn't just a mistake or a lost page issue at all. I mean, Richard Carrier and others argue that if a page had been lost, you'd expect some oral tradition to have preserved that original ending. Instead, we get silence, which might actually be deliberate.
That's a compelling point. It suggests that Mark might have intentionally ended his gospel with that cliffhanger, like leaving the reader to wrestle with the meaning of resurrection on their own.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like saying the resurrection isn't about witnessing a physical event, it's about the internal, personal awakening of faith. Some, like Mary Ann Tolbert, see it as a parable where the true resurrection happens inside you, not on a stage for public approval.
Which is a bold move in religious literature because it essentially pushes the responsibility of belief onto every single reader. It turns the narrative into an interactive experience where your own response fills the gap Mark left.
Right, it's as if Mark wanted to say, look, I'm not giving you all the answers. The miracle is, what you choose to see in your own heart. That's a pretty radical concept when compared to the other Gospels.
Indeed, when you compare it to Matthew or Luke, which add all these extra details like angelic announcements, guards at the tomb, and even the resurrection appearances, you can see a clear shift. The later Gospels almost seem to sanitize the ambiguity of Mark's original ending.
Yeah, like they wanted to turn uncertainty into a neat little story, filled with markers of triumph and divine intervention. But Mark's ending feels more, raw and unsettling. It really captures the essence of fear and misunderstanding that permeates the entire Gospel.
Now, I've got to ask, though, don't you think that by ending it with fear, Mark might be risking alienating readers who crave a clear message of hope and victory?
That's a fair point, but I'd argue that the very ambiguity forces believers to confront their own doubts head on. The terror experienced by the women is almost a mirror to the incredulity we all feel when confronted with the unknown.
Yeah, true. I can see that. It's like he was nudging us to understand that, faith isn't about following a script. It's about engaging with mystery, with a kind of raw, unprocessed emotion.
Exactly. And Dennis MacDonald even suggests that, much like Homer's open-ended epics, Mark's abrupt conclusion was meant to spark discussion. Like, think about it. If you're not compelled to debate its meaning, then are you really engaging with the text?
Right. And that brings up another cool aspect: the response of later church fathers. Some claimed that the ending was lost and needed restoration, but there's little evidence they ever preserved an alternative ending. It's like the ambiguous ending was, too powerful to replace.
Yeah, and it brings forth the idea that, maybe the divine mystery is meant to be experienced as it is, without tampering. Those scribes trying to fix it may have inadvertently diluted its impact, turning a direct challenge into a series of comforting affirmations.
But don't you think, by altering the ending, later texts risked undermining the original emotional force Mark created? I mean, the longer ending with its miraculous syntax might have made the whole resurrection seem overly formulaic.
Absolutely, I'd agree. It's like if you artificially engineer certainty, you lose the gritty nuance, the suspense and internal struggle that, forces us to think about what resurrection truly means for us.
Yeah. And that contrast between the raw ending in Mark and the elaborate narratives in the later Gospels is, striking. It almost feels like two very different takes on the same event.
Right? And that divergence is, at the heart of so many debates among scholars. Mark's narrative, devoid of overt resolution, actually challenges the reader to embrace, or even live with, the anxiety of not fully knowing the divine plan.
It's a more active invitation to faith. Instead of being told what to believe, you're tasked to decide for yourself. Isn't that like a tougher but arguably more honest approach?
Exactly. It's like the text doesn't evangelize, but rather it provokes. It almost says, your journey of belief, your personal resurrection, starts with these unanswered questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that might be why the ambiguity has persisted for so long. Despite centuries of additions and modifications, the original shock of the ending keeps challenging us. It's not, merely an oversight, but a deliberate invitation to wrestle with faith.
Right, and in that sense, Mark's gospel is revolutionary. It defies the comfort of clear-cut stories and encourages an exploration of doubt as an integral part of belief.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Like, what initially seems like an unsatisfying ending is actually a call to introspection, to, engage with the mystery on a deeper level.
Yeah, it's like it's open-ended on purpose, leaving the door wide open for personal interpretation. It's, not about a neatly tied-up conclusion, but about the journey of understanding.
Right, indeed. And as much as some might critique that approach as being purposely ambiguous, there's something profoundly honest about not pretending to have all the answers.
Exactly. It's a reflection of the human condition itself, full of questions, uncertainty, and a need to personally confront the unknown. I mean, who among us isn't occasionally terrified by what we can't quite explain?
Absolutely. It also makes me wonder how much of our modern faith narrative has been shaped by these later alterations. The added elements in the longer ending, like, handling snakes and all that, seem almost, a far cry from the original tone.
Yeah. It's like the later editors tried to impose their ideal of what resurrection should look like, invoking miracles to boost certainty, rather than embracing the more existential experience that Mark might have intended.
And isn't that our own challenge today? To sift through tradition and dogma and find a resonance that speaks to our inner uncertainties?
Exactly. And maybe that's why this discussion remains so vibrant. The absence of a definitive resurrection scene in Mark isn't a failure but a legacy challenging us to define our own understanding of faith.
I really appreciate that perspective. It turns the whole narrative on its head and makes you consider that the truest form of belief might involve embracing mystery, vulnerability, and yes, even a bit of fear.
Right. It's like Mark's ending is not an ending at all. It's a beginning. It invites you to continue the story in your own life, to find meaning in the spaces where certainty fades.
And that, in turn, opens up an entire dialogue about doubt, revelation, and what it means to truly experience the divine on a personal level.
Absolutely. It's a conversation that spans centuries, cultures, and individual journeys. In the end, Maybe the most profound message of Mark is that faith is a personal, evolving quest rather than a finished, boxed-in narrative.
Right on. I feel like this discussion really highlights that debate between a neatly packaged miracle and the messy, unfiltered experience of human belief. It makes you wonder about, the role of ambiguity in spiritual understanding.
Yeah, totally. It's like, in life, the uncertain moments often lead to the deepest insights. Mark's ambiguous ending forces us to, confront the unknown directly rather than relying on second-hand resolutions.
Absolutely. And isn't that what makes for a truly engaging faith journey? The willingness to explore the gaps, the hesitations, while still seeking a deeper truth.
For sure. Mark's gospel, with all its tension and unresolved questions, stands as a reminder that our own stories of belief are written in the spaces where certainty and
exactly.
doubt collide.
This discussion really puts into perspective how foundational texts can spark dialogue across generations. The mystery isn't about a lost page. It's about a living, breathing inquiry into what it means to believe.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of discussion that feeds into ongoing debates among scholars, theologians, and everyday believers alike. The conversation isn't over. It's very much part of our experience today.
Right, indeed. Well, I think we've really peeled back some layers on this enigmatic ending. It's been a lively dive into ambiguity, tradition, and the beauty of personal faith journeys.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for tuning in and letting these questions provoke your own exploration of, what belief truly
Absolutely,
means.
thanks for the insights. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the most compelling faith is the one that challenges you to fill in the silence yourself.